Hi everybody, welcome to Jenkins Boat Works. I am Chuck Jenkins. In this video, we are going to take a behind the scenes look at what maybe you missed at the 33rd Annual Wooden Boat Show in Mystic, Connecticut. This is the third video in this report from the seaport, and I was lucky enough to be able to go hang out up there and look at all the beautiful boats and see the sights just last weekend. And so we have two other videos so far, and this is the third, and then we'll do a final one where we look at a couple of boats or big ships that are being restored. It is an actual working shipyard, and quite honestly, it kind of ties into what we're going to do today. When I get in there the first day, I'm lost. I'm amazed. I see the most beautiful creations and boats, and it's so amazing, and there's so many of them. It's almost like you can't see it all. Forest for the trees sort of thing. So the first day I run around like a little kid, and then the second day I calmed down, and I thought, you know, I've been here multiple times, and a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing is stuff I've seen before. Not that I didn't want to see it again, but what else is there? So we're going to now take a behind the scenes look at what goes on at Mystic Seaport. It is a working shipyard, and as such, there are little pieces and parts of it that are not really hidden out of view, but off the beaten path just a little bit that I went and explored. And I was really interested and amazed with some of the things that I saw. The lumber processing area, the ship lift, just a whole bunch of stuff that maybe you might have missed if you've gone to the show. So I hope you'll enjoy this. It's certainly a little bit of a different take, but I found it interesting, and I hope you will too. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is not our regular fare. Most of the time we're building boats, but sometimes we take a little trip or go sailing or something too. So dig into the channel, see what you might like, and if you do like, consider subscribing to the channel. That helps us greatly. If you like the video, share it with your friends. Leave a comment, hit the like button. Let's jump in and go look behind the scenes in Mystic, Connecticut. There's their lumber barn. I'm not quite sure how I missed that when I walked by it. But like I said before, there's so much to see that it's like it's right in front of you and you miss it. Look at all that lumber stored in there. I saw this lumber yard from that little balcony up there yesterday, and I don't know that I've ever come back here and looked at this. They've got a huge sawmill over here. You can see some wood's been milled and still sitting there. And now what is just almost mind-blowing is how much lumber is here. So up there on the right, you see all the lumber that's been milled, and it's stacked on what are called stickers so that it can dry. And this barn is just packed. And somebody knows what all that is and where to find it when they need it. Look at some of these planks, just massive. There's a small fortune in lumber right here. I'm sure a lot of it's probably white oak, probably some pine. Look at that, that's a whole tree right there. Tackle up inside there they could probably use to haul some of these out when they need them. Look at the width on those. Right there in the center of the screen. Wow, oh my. It smells good too. So here at the end of the yard is a shop, and we went inside here yesterday and looked at this MSC berry that's being worked on. What I didn't know is here are these huge planers. Looks like they've got 2 of them, which I'm sure is where, you know, they're in a good spot because of the mill being over there and storage there. All the times I've been here, I don't think I've ever wandered back in here and looked at this. That's super cool. Yesterday we went around the side there and climbed the steps and went in. This is the Susan B. Constant, which is an original Jamestown colony ship replica, of course. And so it's in there and they're rebuilding it. Sometimes I think maybe I'm a little slow. You just look at something like that and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. They got a big tent there and they're rebuilding it. How the heck they get it in there? All right, so here's the answer. We're gonna go look at this. They've got a ship lift. You may notice all this rail track here. Some rails just moving straight on out toward the water. Then there's these cross tracks. And there's about 17 of them. Okay, that's gonna make sense in a minute. I'm gonna walk out there. So this is the ship lift. And I don't understand everything I know about it, but I think I'm getting a clue. There are 4 of these lifting stations along each side. And I believe that this entire deck, this rail car, and the tracks, and the whole deck lower down into the water. And in the case of some really large ships, that's got to be at least 10, 12 feet, maybe a little more, to get underneath the keel. So they lower the whole thing down, then they float the boat in here on top of this whole deal, and then they lift it back up. Now somehow they have to secure it so it doesn't tip over once it's on here. So I'm a little confused by that, but I see a lot of chain and some structures that maybe hold the chain to where they can wind them down tight, maybe throw the chain up over the boat or along the hull somehow. So these deals right here. And then once they get it on there and get it secured, yeah, that's probably the trickiest thing, is lifting it out of the water. I don't know if you can see it through the cracks in the wood there, but there's clearly where the water's edge right here. So then it's got these wheels, these like railroad wheels. And I tried to count all the way up there, and I think there's about 17 of them, 16 or 17. So then once they lift it back up, these tracks meet. And it's quite wide. I'd say that's probably 12 feet from track to track. And then it goes, here's the shop where that boat is. Let's see off to the side of this. So these tracks all go forward here. So they got the boat secured on the lift, and they bring it up here. Obviously there's a bunch of stuff in the way here. And then here's the shipbuilding area. And then once they get it all the way up here, my guess is that those wheels, they're single wheels, and my guess is that those wheels can be turned at 90 degrees, and they're lined up with these cross tracks. So they obviously have to move all that cinder block and this side of the tent, maybe the whole thing. And then they slide it in sideways into their work area. and I actually did go and look, and those tracks, these ones that are now in front of us, they go underneath there, and they go all the way across the bottom of the shop area in there. Maybe you can see that one right there in the gravel. I would like to be here and watch that sometime. Incredible. I'm looking at all that structure in there that holds the tent up. That clearly all has to come down. Crazy. So we looked at this yesterday, the LA Dunton, and this boat is actually owned by the Seaport, has been for years. And we just looked at that other boat and saw the train tracks and the lift and everything to bring the boat out of the water. And I'm over here and there's nothing like that. The water's right here. So I went aboard and I asked one of the volunteers. And he went into long detail about 2 cranes that they used. And then I come down the steps and I see this. And it shows how they lifted it out. And apparently there is video of this, which I am going to look for. So it has now been here for almost 3 years, and they continue to work on it, and the intent is to put it back in the water. So incredible. Another restoration going on, a fish class sloop, Herreshoff. Mary Hell, I believe is her name. And this little shop's just all dedicated to this one boat. So it's very similar to like the famous Herreshoff 12.5, but this boat is not quite 21 feet long. So it's just a little bit bigger. There are some modern day replicas. I think a Marlin is a boat off of this original idea. Another shop here where work's being done. They've got more timber here. Wow, my, quite a lot. So it looks like 3 boats in here being restored, if this is one of them. I think we can go up some stairs and look and see what else we can see. I found another way in, and we're upstairs. Oh wow. Look at this. Got their bandsaw right there and all their tools, workbench. Well, that tells us a little more. 1866. That's crazy. Over 150 years old. Couple of new deck planks. I don't know how much more they're going to do. Clearly more. I have no idea what that is over there.
He probably roams around.
It looks like it's got a big centerboard trunk in it. That's crazy for a boat that big. I mean, that's a little one in this area, but wow.
And they got the LA Dunton nameplates over there. Here's where they talk about some of the wood they use. They said they try to use the same kind of wood as was what was in the original boat, unless there's something better and or more available. White oak is always a good part for framing and planking. If you ever have a chance to come to Mystic, Connecticut, to the Seaport Museum, there's almost more than you can see here in a day. We're coming back tomorrow and I still won't see all of it. Okay, now that's a cool deal. This was some restoration that was done. And the picture's like pleated. So you see the old, what it was like when they hauled it out. And then if you come to this side, you see what it's like once they got it done. Armstrong Workshop. I wonder what this is like. Can't go in. Okay, now that's a boat shop. Look at that. That's awesome. Looks like they've rebuilt this. Looks like cedar on the deck. That's lovely.
If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.